Hello, this is Angelica Da Silva, and this is my Triple E 202 semester summary. At the beginning of the semester, we learned about the basics of a circuit. And when we got started, we were given a light bulb, a battery, and a wire, and told to connect it 4 different ways, and that's how it started everything. We learned what a schematic diagram was and how to read it off the board to actually connect it in real life, which is what we're doing right here. We also tested what a parallel and series circuit look like, and the difference in resistance, voltage, and current would look like with the multimeter. The next thing we got into was the Arduino. And I've always wanted to touch an Arduino. I never knew how to use it, but we went through the whole book. It took a while to do all these projects, but it was really cool learning all the different techniques that it is to connect a circuit. We had to learn how to read different diagrams from the book, and then we also had to know what the code was saying in each of the Arduino projects. So this was really cool. We also got to learn what was like an LED, what was a polarized capacitor, what was a transistor, MOSFET, etc. There was like so many different things that we learned from the book. Another thing we touched on was amplifiers. An amplifier receives a small electrical signal and enlarges it or amplifies it. Technically, that's why it's called an amplifier. So we did we did some tests with it and read the different readings off of it. It was pretty cool to be able to see the difference, to actually get our hands on an actual amplifier. And then another thing that we did for the semester was we had to do a cultural science thing, and I decided to touch on the Science Museum because I haven't been there in a long time. And I went there with one of my classmates, so that's a picture of him and me trying out some of the exhibits there. But I thought what was really cool was this video. So that was pretty cool to see that. And they actually had like an actual like circuit building in the actual museum, so I thought that was pretty cool because that's basically what we're doing. So as you see, the switch, the LEDs, capacitor, so it was pretty cool. And then the other thing was the dancing trees, which was pretty cool. So that was pretty cool with going to the museum and experiencing that. Some other, majority of the class that we touched on was how to actually solve a circuit that is given to us. So you could see that we had plenty of practice with solving for resistance, current, and voltage in different types of diagrams that we were given, or different cases. And right here is us learning how to color code the voltage drops in a circuit. This was very interesting, I gotta say, because I could have swore I did it in Physics 1 and it seemed like it was way different, but I guess being in a higher class, you could understand it way more. And we have like the different calculations or the different ways to solve each problem. Like David had a different way of solving for everything in a circuit compared to how we were taught in physics 2, and I still stuck to the way that I was taught in physics 2, but David's way was way more easier. But it was it's a little more complicated to get used to because I was taught in physics 2 to learn a different way. So another thing that we did a lot in the class was different projects. We had 3 different projects that we had to do. The first one we did was the polarity detector, which is this one right here. And this one, it actually the only project that we actually finished, well, at least I finished, and it was very interesting because we weren't technically, Alexander ended up getting it done, and so the whole class had to actually base their stuff off of our schematics. So it was pretty cool to see that. The next project that we did was the RetroPie, which is after learning about the Arduino way more. And I actually thought the jukebox would be pretty cool because we got to pick which Arduino project that we wanted to do. But my teammates wanted to do the RetroPie, so we ended up doing the RetroPie. We didn't get to download the game onto the Arduino, so it was just basically an empty arcade that we had. So it was pretty cool. The last project that we did was the lightsaber, and we only got as far as soldering everything onto the breadboard. Well, not everything, but mostly everything onto the breadboard. We also got everything, all the software and sound effects onto the SD card too. But we still didn't have a handle, which I thought would have been awesome to do, which would have been to to CNC actual handle out of metal, which I was gonna ask my old teacher to help me with, but with time limits it wouldn't have been possible, so I ended up giving up on that option. But that's as far as we went with the lightsaber. Another thing we touched on was actually differential equations, which was pretty cool because I'm actually in differential equations for class, so I thought it was really cool for it to intercept, because right when we started learning about this, we were learning about also Laplace transforms, and so this is also what it goes into, which is a first and second order of differential equations with Laplace. So, and Laplace is very interesting because it's taking, it's basically taking one variable and changing it into another variable. So, very interesting. Going from the S domain to the T domain, or the T domain to the S domain, to solve different things. You can see my journal right here. And then I just wanted to go more over how we also, the schematic of an Arduino. So this was very emphasized a lot in class, and I thought it was, I don't know, I just thought the Arduino overall was really cool to learn how to do, and it was just a big part of the class to learn how to know how to connect a schematic the way that it's supposed to be connected, or you could connect it a different way. It just all depends what you do. And then you also had to know how to do code. Well, not code, but at least know what the code was doing, which was it's very like the same as any other other program that you have to use, that have to know how to do, like VPython and C++, and all that cool stuff. So here are two images of a code and a different schematic. So, and then I also thought, which was really good in the class, was learning how to actual like solder. I didn't even know what soldering was until I got into this class, so I thought it was really good to know how to solder. I'm not too good at it, but I can at least solder a ring, which is what we had to do for one of our tests. So that's what I ended up learning from this class. I think this one was like one of the best things for us to learn in this class. I spent 128 hours this whole semester on this class. I spent around 8 hours a week on this course. Every week I replied to 4 people in every discussion, and I replied to every neat resource. I did the weekly summaries, and I believe I deserve a B because that's what I depended on doing from the syllabus this whole semester. Thank you.